Welcome to Swashbuckling with Code. I'm Jimmy Cleveland, and it's time to update our homepage so that the users that visit it can actually find our posts. So in particular, we're going to be learning how to use GraphQL to make GraphQL queries and get some of that really cool functionality that Gatsby gives us out of the box. So that includes sorting all of our posts by date, as you would expect, and then also formatting that date in a bunch of different custom ways, however we like, because it uses Moment.js under the hood at build time, which is really sweet. Well, that even includes locales. And we're also going to get an estimated time to read, which is going to be calculated automatically as a best guess of how long they think in minutes it would take the user to read it. So let's get right to that. All right, well, let's kick this off. This is how our homepage is looking right now. It has this lovely image, and we're going to get rid of it, sadly. What we want to do is get rid of the image here and everything that comes after that. And then we're also going to get rid of the query, which is right here. So when we come back, we've just got this pretty boring look here. That was weird. And that means we won't need image tag anymore, so we can get rid of that. And okay, everything's looking pretty good. Now, what we're going to want to do is start up our query first. And in order to do that, if you do not recall, you can always go here where your server starts and go to this URL, /GraphQL. And we'll pop this in the browser here. Go to our GraphQL. And we want to take a look at all markdown remark, that's our posts, and we want to go to edges node. Now, before I go further, just a quick reminder, this edges node, you can think of this as like a list of all of the markdown posts that we've done. So edges is kind of like the array if you're thinking of it from the data shape level, and then node is the individual objects with all of those fields on them, okay? So, you'll get pretty used to that if it's a little bit weird to you. So the next thing we want to look at is there's some pretty sweet things that we can get access to here. First, I'm going to get the excerpt, which is nice that that just comes with it. And that's going to tell me what my actual posts are, because I can see a little shorthand excerpt that it's created for each of them. You can see that these are just kind of short, and this one it's actually truncated. So it gives us a nice little thing to display, just kind of like a quick preview of what the post is about. I think that's really cool. And the next thing that we'll want to look at is time to read. So time to read is also a cool thing, but right now you'll see that they just say 1, 1, and 1. Now this is in minutes that it's estimating that a time to read is. And in order to show that, let's go get some lorem ipsum. And I don't know why I clicked that. I don't really need it. Doesn't matter which one. We're just going to grab something real quick, just so we've got some content. And then we'll pop over here into our markdown pages, and we'll say, okay, for the second one, I'm gonna do it for this one. Yank that, come down here. I'm gonna come back to this, but let me jump back and forth real quick and show you. So when I query this, you'll see that it's 1, 1, and 2 now. And if I were to paste it one more time and query again, it's gonna be 1, 1, and 4. So yeah. It's just estimating that it'll take an average person 4 minutes to read that, I guess. Why it gives us it just in the number, I'm not quite sure. Maybe if it's you want to format it a different way. But there's that. And of course, we want our trusty front matter, and we want the title. Okay. But we're also going to want the date here. So if we grab this date, you probably can't see that because my head's in the way. That's a little bit better, right? And so we've got 1, 1, and 1 here for these dates. Now that's kind of interesting, right? I guess they were just all created on the same day as we made them, so they're all the same. I want to showcase kind of an issue with this, and to show that, we're going to tap into this cool little sort functionality that comes with any of the queries. So you can sort by fields, and it will give you this nice little drop down of all the different things that you could sort by. And we're particularly wanting to sort by date. And that is cool because when we go to sort that, it's just going to automatically figure this out. And you can't really see it right now because they're all the same date. So let's change that real quick. So if we come over here, I'm just going to put a 2 here to illustrate kind of a problem with doing these as strings. Notice they have quotes around them, and then we'll fix it. So this will be 0 on the meow post, and this will be 1, 1. I think that'll illustrate it pretty well, hopefully. Now we're going to requery here, and you'll notice that here, I don't know if this is, I could bump it up a little bit more. It's a juggling act. Just make it a little easier on your eyes there, hopefully. So you'll see that there is this date here. I think I accidentally did that. There's this date here for 2, 11, and 10. And okay, well, we actually want descending. By default, it's ascending, and that's because, we want the newest post to show up first. But you'll notice here that we have a little bit of an issue where it goes 11 and then 10 as we would expect, but then it's like 2 at the top, which should be older. Well, that's because, when you're doing string comparisons, a 2 is a greater value than 1, like character-wise, and it doesn't take like the whole number into account. So if you were to just go over to here and put like an O2, that should solve the problem for you. Okay. Yep. There you go. Now, what we actually want, though, is to remove these quotes. And let me show you this. This is pretty cool. So I've removed it from the 2, and you'll notice that it's kind of cut off here, but you can see there's this timestamp here that it's created. So when you give it the number, it actually turns it into this cool little timestamp, and that's going to give us some new functionality. You'll see right here over on the left, there's this date that doesn't let us do anything special on it, but when we refresh, now the date sees that one of them is actually this timestamp format, and now it's going to use moment.js under the hood to format this, which is pretty cool. It gives us a bunch of options. Now, you could do this client side, of course. That's how people have done it for most of my experience, but it's pretty neat to have it just straight up queryable from your front end standpoint, and to get all of that built like at build time rather than doing some sort of client side logic for that. So I think that's pretty awesome that this comes built into this. And if you're not really familiar with this, like these purple text links as opposed to the blue ones as you're doing a query builder, these are showcasing like functions. So if I were to do, let's say, from now, you can see that this little function call has been added on to this. So it's a way to kind of add extra functionality, sortability, all that type of stuff. So here you go. Now you can do this from now true, and notice it'll say a month ago, 2 months ago. That's pretty neat, just to like get that right off the bat. And let's say that we want to change one of these to be like written this month, let's say, because I'm in November right now. And notice that it says 10 days ago, and then it'll say a month ago. So that's pretty cool. And that might be totally great, might be perfect for you. That's all you need. Fantastic. I want to show a little bit more of the capabilities for it, because there's some really cool formatting you can do as a string here. So if you do like day, for instance, DDD, it's kind of hard to see over here, so you might want to follow along on this side. Notice that it says Friday, Sunday, Tuesday. That is pretty neat. And then you could, of course, like do 3-letter days, and then you could do like a space, and you could go, I want that, and then the year, and you throw that in there, and now you've got Friday 2020, Sunday 2020, Tuesday 2020. So that is very cool. So we can be like, okay, what I would want is I want the full day. And if you ever used to this like timestamp formatting type stuff, it's always like 4 characters is going to give you like the whole word. So it's like 1 is 1 character, 2 is 2 characters, 3 is 3 characters, and 4 is the whole thing. That's the gist of it for the most part. So now then we'll be like, okay, now I want a month. I don't remember why we do this uppercase. We do DO, which is actually going to put the like first, second, third on it, which is pretty cool. And then we'll go year. And then that's all we'll do here. It's kind of hard to see this whole query here. I'll move this one over for you first so you can see it right here, and then move it back. I know it's a juggling act. I'm sorry. Then here you can see, why'd you go away? There is this Tuesday, November 10th, 2020, Sunday, October 11th, 2020. So that's really cool. I mean, you know, like we're just putting our simple little date here. I haven't removed the quotes on these. Let's do that while we're doing it, so we get it for all of them. And as long as we do it this way, we get some really cool functionality. Just pretty easy to build this query. I really like that. Let me give you a little bonus thing that's kind of neat here. So they have locales as well. So, you know, you could do en-us, and that's what we're defaulting to, I believe. But you can also do some pretty cool stuff like nb-no. Hope I remember that right. Yeah, look at this. Sundog. Pretty cool, right? Fredag. So this is Norwegian, and it's pretty neat. They have this. You can do bokmål or nynorsk. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. Sorry if I've offended anyone, but I think I'm close. Then you can see that it's spelled a little bit differently, and that's because Norway has like 2 different locales built in. One, the kind of reading form, and then the modern reading form. Don't worry about that, but it's just kind of neat that they have all these different locales that you can throw in for your native locale. So I like it. I think it's very cool. So now we've got our query built. Let's drop that in. So what we're going to want is really just this part right here in particular. And now that we have that, pop on over to our code, and we'll go to this query part here. We're going to drop it down beneath the site. I'm just going to run a format on this thing. And now we're getting all markdown remark, the way that we're querying for it. We've got lots of cool stuff, so let's throw it in the data. Now, as a quick refresher here, when you're going to grab your data, data is going to be whatever on this page level that we queried, and you can think of it as the result of this query. So query is a command that we're doing. This is the name of it, and then this is the whole query here. So this is essentially data at this point on. So that means that we would write data dot all markdown remark, and maybe I should side by side this because it might show you a little bit better it happening kind of live. I'll try to do a juggling act for you. Okay. So we were doing all markdown remark, and then we're going to need edges off of that, and that's going to give us an array, so that'll allow us to map over it. And, you know, the map is obviously going to, or maybe it's not obvious, but it's going to return, you know, 1 item per in the way that we want to render it. So you can think of this like as a post, and for each post I want to return something. Now, the kind of gotcha here is that you're gonna need to pull off node to access it, because it actually gives you an object with node on it that has your fields. It kind of gets me every now and then, but so we're gonna do an extra set of parens here. Bear with me, and then space node, okay? And then we can do an arrow function here, and we'll do another set of parens because this is an implicit return. We want to return 1 thing, and what that thing is like, let's just start with div, okay? And then we'll do an h3 in this case, and we'll say this is going to be node dot title. Cool. And actually it'll be node dot front matter dot title, right? So we'll go node front matter title. Cool. And if we save this, and I did it right, boom, 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 boom. Pretty sweet, huh? Now, you could actually rename this. Some people like to do this where it's like post. So I'll rename node as post, so it makes sense to me. Whatever you want to call it. So this is post.frontmatter.title. I'll leave it like that. I know it's a lot of parens and braces, but you know, just bear with it. For now, you kind of get the hang of it if you're not used to it. And okay, so let's drop the rest of our data on here, shall we? So let's say right underneath this, we're just going to do a quick little paragraph. And we're going to say, oh, well, this will be the date, I guess. So this will be post.frontmatter.date. And that's all we need to put there. And that should show up. So there's your date. And then we'll say, okay, well, now I want another P. And this will actually be post dot, let's do just the excerpt here. And let's say we actually want the date. No, we'll leave it like this. That's cool. Last one here, I think. We will do time to read here. Now, in this one, we're going to do a little interpolation here because, well, I guess we could just pass it and we'll say a lovely, and remember it only gives us a digit here. So we'll say post dot time to read. minute read. Yeah. Okay, so now you've got post 1 is I don't care. Will you please work? A lovely 1 minute read. Very nice. You can see the date. You can see that it's in order of when they were written. And you're getting pretty close to ready to rock. So the last part that we want to do for this video is we're going to make them all links. Now, in order to make a link here, you bring in the link tag from Gatsby. Now, we've done a lot of this automatically before, but this is how you manually do it in a page when you're writing yourself. Because if you recall, this is our own index page that we're writing from scratch, and that's why we have to do the queries the way we do. And what we'll do is we'll make this whole wrapper a link to, and then we're going to want some sort of address here, okay? And we'll close this as a link. Now, what I just want to show real quick, it's going to be kind of hard to show with such a fast and lean site already, but if we were to just type the URL as an href here, let's say what you're maybe used to is you want to do an A, and you want to do an href, and you want to go to like first, okay? Now, what I've done is I've made all of these entire things a post. I know it's very hideous. And when I click it, it's going to go to first. But you might have seen that that kind of took a second to go there. Now it's a little faster because it's gone there once before. So it's kind of hard to showcase. Let me hard refresh here. And actually, do we need to do inspect? Let's go to network. We'll disable cache. We'll reload. And then we'll see if that takes this long one. Yeah, see, there's kind of a delay there. It might be a little hard to see in this, like I said. But what we can do now is we'll change this back to a link. So if we undo this and go back to the link to, that's just the terminology they use, and we'll set it to first. And we'll save that, we'll reload, and what we should see now is when we click this, it's very fast. And that's because it's using the single page app router. That's why we need to use that. If we're going external, we can just use an A tag. But for internal links in our site, we need to use the link tag to take advantage of that awesome fast routing speed once you're in the single page app experience, just so you can see that. Now we're only missing one thing here, and that's from each of these individual nodes. If you recall, we created nodes and we added fields slug onto it in order to create those slugs. So if we just add that on here, we can just simply say, okay, well, each of these go to post.fields.slug. And that will be their own slug. And from now, when we click this one, notice that the link's colors have changed, like this is the only visited one. So now when I go here, it'll take me there. I go back. When I go here, it'll take me to this page. And then when I go here, it'll take me to a different one. Really cool. Now, I know this looks terrible right now, but we got a lot of really cool functionality here. And I think that that'll wrap this video up. And on the next one, we'll style it using emotion and make some little postcards to show like how we can make this look a little bit better and utilize this function and also have it look good. So I'll see you in the next one.